Hi, I'm Crystal, and I recently posted some photos of wet on wet watercolor I did with my daughter and had some requests of how we did it. So I'm gonna show you with a short video. So we've got,
Do you like it? Why aren't you talking?
oh, I think that's beautiful. We're gonna do a video of how to do wet on wet watercolor. Do you wanna help? So I made this one first, and then we made this one second, and we did slightly different techniques as far as how much water and how much movement. This one we really pulled it around and it all kind of blended in. This one we kind of let it sit a little bit. And yeah, so let's get set up here. Check this out. Excuse me. All right. Here we go. So you will need some watercolor paper. I don't recommend trying this on regular sketchbook paper. There's a couple kinds. This is just a watercolor kids sketchbook. It actually works pretty well. We've been using this little higher end block. So it's got glue around the edges so it doesn't warp too much. It'll warp a little bit, then it dries flat. You'll need a bucket of water, several brushes. It doesn't really matter.
Bumpy?
Yeah, what kind of brushes you use? A larger one, some smaller ones, and watercolor. Now I have some tubed watercolors I've put into my own personal watercolor tray here. And they dry out, but then I can add more. That was really nice to get lots of liquid watercolor quickly, but you can also use the standard watercolor tray. As you see, I've already put water in each of the cakes here, so it's already getting liquidy and can pool and move around easier. So I'm going to apply the water over the whole surface of the paper. And going to go ahead and start adding a color. Now I like to think in color schemes. If you just go randomly every color of the rainbow, it might turn to mud, which could be interesting. But complementary colors do neutralize each other. So like red and green and blue and orange and purple and yellow. So I might pick an analogous color scheme, like 3 that are close to each other on the rainbow. For example, red, orange, and yellow.
Yellow and orange.
Exactly. You read my mind.
And green, blue, and purple.
Yes. So I'm just...
And pink, red, and orange.
Exactly. So, okay. The best thing to do is not overthink it. The fun with working with somebody else, like working with Elena, we just jumped in and she added some, I added some, and then I did. Is that okay?
Yes.
In painting in general, no matter what it is, if it's just abstract or something representational, I like to repeat things in 3s or more and repeat them throughout composition. And you can see some interesting things happening right here where the colors are merging together. There's still lots of white, which is okay. I can add more water and make some lighter parts. And I think a little purple might be interesting. Now I can move the paint around. Now if you do this too much, you do end up with kind of
Can you tell them all about it?
a little bit of mud, depending on how much.
Tell them what makes mud and what doesn't.
Yeah, what do you think makes mud? Yeah. Intuition, trusting the process are important because in the end, what you end up with when it dries usually ends up a little different than how you left it. I'm gonna add some more yellow.
And salt.
Oh yes, you can't forget the salt.
To make it look good.
It creates some really interesting texture. So here's this. Now, I don't like to overdo the salt. I'll just pour a little bit in my hand.
I'm overdoing it.
Elena likes to overdo the salt. Now, the salt is acting as an absorbent material. It's actually soaking up the water and the pigment, and that's what makes the texture. You wipe it away. You can see. And I have some white spaces in this that I think I'm just going to go ahead and let it be. Let's go ahead and look at this one up close. So you can see all these little white dots are from the salt. And you can see the movement of the water. When you look at this paper, there's some bulging and valleys. It almost looks like topography, and that's forming some of these shapes here. And you can see where the purple is moving into the yellow-orange. It is turning a little neutral. I think it's interesting. So you can play with the movement. Something fun that we did recently in the classroom was a collaborative drip painting. So students open their sketchbook and we just dripped liquid watercolor into that.
They can join.
Right.
So tell them where you work.
No.
Tell them.
Yeah, I teach at Vancouver School of Arts and Academics, which is a public magnet school for the arts, which I would like to see pop up everywhere across the nation. It's quite lovely. Anyway, I did a collaborative where students dripped on their sketchbook paper one color, and then we rotated around the table and everybody added like 3